In a remote countryside area, isolated by dense forests and roads forgotten by time, lies the Veredas house, an old structure almost consumed by nature and by the stories whispered around campfires in the region. Legend has it that the house once belonged to the Arcanjo family, known for sinister practices and mysterious disappearances that haunted the nearby village for generations. Since the 1960s, no one has dared cross its rusty gates. No one comes back. Time has erased details but left scars, some so deep that not even death could silence them. Decades later, a group of friends, passionate about paranormal phenomena and known for their channel Shadows of Midnight, decide to face the ultimate challenge, investigating the feared Veredas house. Led by Daniel, the skeptic of the group and a methodical researcher, the five friends travel to the heart of oblivion with the purpose of proving or debunking the most terrifying legend of the regional folklore. Lívia, a sensitive medium and the group's documentarian, haunted by visions she doesn't fully understand. Rafa, the sound and lighting technician obsessed with detection equipment and technology. Caio, the bravest but also the most reckless, obsessed with the supernatural ever since he lost his sister under mysterious circumstances. Jéssica, the screenwriter and video editor, rational to the last strand of hair, until the shadows begin to touch her. As soon as they arrive, they realize that the house is not merely abandoned. It is a dying organism, unnaturally alive. The walls seem to breathe, the silence feels heavy, and the air tastes of rust. On the first day, small things begin to go wrong. Drained batteries, cameras turning off on their own, voices captured in the background of the audio, always saying the same word, stay. On the first night, Lívia is struck by a nightmare so vivid that she wakes up with scratches on her body. She dreams of a woman with disheveled hair crawling up the stairs, her eyes sewn shut with black thread and her lips murmuring chants in a language none of them understand. While exploring the basement, Caio finds a collection of old VHS tapes with dates from the 80s and 90s, all labeled with different names. Names of missing people from the region. They watch the recordings and discover something terrifying. Home videos showing brutal ritual sessions, muffled screams, symbols etched in blood on the walls, and a hooded figure, the same shadow that begins to appear in the background of their own recent footage. Rafa detects sound frequencies that cannot be heard by the human ear, but when converted to an audible range, reveal groans, pleas, and children's voices calling for help. Jéssica, once a skeptic, begins to have lapses in time, moments when she loses consciousness and wakes up in different places in the house, her hands dirty with soil and fragments of bones in her pockets. Lívia claims that she is being possessed by memories that are not hers. As the days go by, the group begins to crumble. Daniel tries to maintain logic but starts to doubt his own sanity. Upon finding pages of journals written in his own handwriting, describing events that have not yet happened, including the deaths of his friends, the entities of the house do not just wish to scare, they want to replace, consume, rewrite. The house is a thin veil between this world and something much older, something that has no form, only intent to enter. Caio is the first to disappear. After an argument, he isolates himself to film in the back shed and is never seen again. The video recovered from his camera shows only his last seconds, wide eyes, trembling, and the phrase, "They are inside the wall." Panic sets in. Jéssica tries to escape, but every attempt to leave the property results in returning to the same starting point, as if the house is bending space. There is no cell phone signal, radio, or GPS. They are trapped. Rafa slowly goes mad, tearing the wires from his own recordings, saying that the screams are alive. He disappears during a storm, the same one that strikes on the night, on which Lívia is found in a trance, reciting the words of the chants from her dream. Her eyes rolled back, and a smile that doesn't belong to her. Daniel, alone, tries to piece together the puzzle. he discovers in the local files a letter written by a woman named Beatriz Arcangel, the last heir of the family. In it, she confesses that the house was built on an altar of summoning, a profane place used by a cult, to try to summon an entity called Caroneth, the Watcher of the Underworld. Beatrice believed she had sealed the presence with a final sacrifice, her own soul, but the seal is fragile and must be reinforced with new offerings. The house, clever and hungry, manipulates the living to continue the cycle. Daniel realizes too late that they were never invited, they were chosen. In the climax of the story, Daniel finds the altar in the basement of the house, where symbols burn on the stone by themselves and voices echo from the dark corners. There he sees his friends, their bodies distorted, used as puppets by shadows that cast no reflection. He understands that there is no escape. The only way out would be to destroy the heart of the house, the altar itself. But as he tries to break the seals, Daniel witnesses the entity awakening, not as a form, but as a sensation. The temperature drops, time slows down, and reality folds in on itself. He faces a dilemma: to seal the evil with his own life or allow it to spread beyond the house's boundaries. The decision is made beyond his will. In the final seconds, the group's camera, miraculously still recording, captures Daniel's last breath, followed by total darkness and a whispering voice. Now we are one. Weeks later, a new group of explorers finds the house. It is exactly as it was left. Empty, intact, and absolutely silent. Only a camera on the floor with a single recording still intact, marked with dried blood and an inscription on the opening screen: "The Last Vigil."